This daily dose is brought to you by Pirate.Black. ARRR!
First thing I want to talk about today was the Harrrdware wallet and the progress that's been going on with that. As you all know from the last time, the Harrrdware wallet's actually getting pretty close. It's definitely going to happen this year for sure. I expect it to potentially be Q3 this year for pre-orders and release potentially. Pre-orders for sure. I can pretty much guarantee that based on the updates that I've seen from Mulroy. And for those of you who aren't filled in on that, even though I've been talking about it the past few months, Mulroy is one of the team members that's been working on. Actually, yeah, Forge has helped out a little bit, but Mulroy did 90% of the heavy lifting on everything else between the actual hardware itself, the software on it, the firmware, everything. And he's been pushing along for over a year now, I think. Yeah, I think it's been over a year since he started this thing. As of right now, the pirate part was complete about a year ago. Since then, the rest of the hardware is getting locked down. Enclosure design, I believe, is done. And the last step is finalizing the production environment. RSA asymmetric encryption is being worked on. The access security is huge before the initial release. So that's stuff that is being worked on right now to ensure that the device is not only encrypted but completely secure for users and such. So there's still a little ways to go, but as I've said, I think it's safe to say that for Q3 of this year, we should have the pre-orders starting to get rolling out and ready to go. I know for sure that there's going to be a ton of pre-orders, including myself, because this is going to be sick. As the first device, first hardware wallet in existence that can handle shielded transactions. So this is huge, everyone. Regardless of all the other hardware wallets out there, nothing can actually support Pirate except for this, which is crazy. So huge shout out to Mulroy on that, because he's been working like a dog trying to get this thing going, and he's been putting in some amazing work on all this stuff. So if you ever get a chance to see him or speak to him, give him a shout out because he deserves it. Next thing on my list is the wallet that we're going to, the multi-currency wallet that we're going to be included on. Discussions I've had with them on announcing stuff and talking about stuff in regards to them. Obviously, I can't mention them by name, but we are very, very, very close. My expectation is that it'll be released by the end of the month. Don't quote me on that because it's still on their end. I think they had a minor issue that I got Forge in touch with them to resolve. But once that is resolved, then we should be good to go. Everything is signed and ready to roll on that end. We're going to be doing a marketing promotion with it as well in parallel with them. So there will be a little bit of R given out during that promotion to, I think it's 4 people. So 4 people out of everyone that downloads the wallet and using the link for R will be eligible to win. I think it's I don't know if I can actually say how much, but a good chunk of R. It's nothing to sneeze at for sure. So it's a solid amount of R. So 4 people will be able to win that, which is really cool. Aside from that, there's just a few things here and there to get our ducks in a row on both sides for the marketing portion of it. But as far as the technical portion, everything should be done except for that small issue that they're having that Forge is in touch with them on. So should be good to go. Hopefully, like I said, at the end of the month, but no guarantees on that, obviously, because it's realistically on their end. Another thing that I wanted to mention was, there are several exchanges that I've applied to for us. I'm not going to mention any names because I was in contact with a couple people from those exchanges, and I don't want to either A, get them in trouble, or B, mention the exchanges and have that expectation of, hey, we could get listed on XYZ, and then if it ends up not happening, then, I don't want that disappointment, So, but yeah, so there's a couple exchanges that hopefully will be we'll be getting listed on in the near future if everything works out right. So be on the lookout for that. And there's a few more updates I want to mention, but first I want to bring on Quartermaster, who's one of our team members. He's here to discuss something that he's been working on, which is actually really awesome. And I'm excited. I'm really excited to see this get off the ground, become something that's actually used quite a bit, because I think that'll be a really, really good use case for R. So let me go ahead and unmute him. And Quartermaster, go ahead, introduce yourself, and talk about what you're working on.
Hello, everybody. Thanks, Draith. For those of you who don't know me, I've been working a lot on Telegram. I was the guy who came up with the lyrics for the Pirate Chain shanty you heard earlier, and do little bits and pieces in the background. Mostly, I'm Cax's bitch, but that's something else. Anyway, congratulations on all the stuff going on, Drake. That's fantastic news with the wallets and exchanges. That is so exciting, and hopefully that'll coincide with a change in market mood, and things will start to take off again. I understand your reluctance to announce things. I've been kind of working on this for about 8 months now, and I've been gagging to speak about it, but had the same reservations about saying something and it not coming to fruition. So I'm very pleased to announce that I can launch a website called barter.com, which is essentially a classified ads trading site for Pirate Chain members. So anybody can go to barter.com and sign up for an account. It's just like any other classified website that you are used to. It's not nearly as sophisticated. It's very basic as yet. But hopefully, as it takes off, if it does, any revenues that come from it will be plowed into making it more sophisticated, allowing for it to broaden its reach and to really boost the usage. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're all here for, is to encourage Pirate Chain adoption. And the community's been gagging for ways to do this from my experience, and hopefully I'm just providing a tool to the community which is simple, easy to use, and will enhance the value of Pirate Chain. It's by no means, I should point out, in competition to the Armada. It's there to complement it. It's for individual use. Businesses sure can advertise, and link to their Armada websites just as to facilitate their sales. But it should allow people to really use R on a regular basis, get involved, try and develop local communities that use R, show people that it is usable, show them that we have the tools, that it is a fungible asset, a true replacement for the current system. There's little, if any, technical knowledge necessary to get involved. You can just go on, sign up, and you're there for life as an R seller. It's kind of guarantees the use of R, because everybody, you have to pay a little bit of R to sign up. So everybody has a wallet. That's part of the membership guarantee, if you like, that R is going to be accepted. It's a great way not only to facilitate the usage of R, but also to get R. If you've got no fiat left, like a lot of us don't currently, but you got shit lying around that's doing you no good, sell it. Get some more R, totally anonymously, no exchange fees. You know, there's so many benefits to this, and very few downsides, if any. A couple of things I ought to mention is we really do have to be careful of scammers. This is not something that you can just get on there and trust everybody like any classified site. You got to do your due diligence. Try and stay local for now, unless you really trust the source, like perhaps an Armada member. Or deal with somebody long distance, you know. As far as privacy goes, there might be some issues people are considering. You know, it's a messaging system. You know, I don't want to tell people I've got R. I don't want to give up my information. We only ask for a very basic username, no emails. Although we require an email to sign up, nothing will ever be displayed. You only have to show a phone number if you're willing to accept a call. And the other thing, of course, is once you've made contact with a fellow pirate about a possible sale of something, if you've got any sensitive information, you can always use the memo fields in the wallets themselves to swap that kind of information at, as we all know, at a basically zero cost. So there's only upsides to it. Just to add on that, you might think, well, how are we going to do, long distance stuff? Drake and I have discussed escrow options at the moment, discussions we've had with providers to make it a purely hands-off blockchain type transaction. The cost is, like a lot of things like audits, etc., prohibitive at the moment. But what I am going to do is, and I'm building it already, is an escrow service where I will act as an intermediary if desired for maybe higher value or long distance transactions. So that's something that should be coming to help it move along in the near future. That word soon that we all hate using. But that's pretty much where it's at the moment. I would encourage everybody to go to barter.com. It's spelled B, of course, ARRRTER. The way this can work is I don't care if you're into it or not. Do the right thing by pirate and show that it can be used. List a pair of slippers, a pipe, used underwear. I don't care as long as it's legal. Just get something on there. If we have thousands of things listed for sale, we can show people that this is a real usable currency, a form of exchange, and everybody who likes to chime in, Pirate Chain's got nothing on Monero, it's got no use case, nobody's using it. We can blow all that shit out of the water, and that is my intention with this, and I hope you will all warm to it and get on it. It costs literally $10 worth of ARRR for a lifetime membership, and a little bit more if you want to do more sort of volume trading, or if you're a business and you feel it's worth advertising. So go and check it out. I mean, I really would like feedback from everybody. Any suggestions for any enhancements? If I haven't listed a region where you are, tell me and I'll add it. It's a tool. That's all I'm hoping to provide. And well, that's it. And I hope the community warms to it and uses it. So thanks for letting me come on and introduce this, Draith. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, there's a couple things I want to mention on top of this stuff, and then another point I want to make aside from that, but I'll talk about that later. But one thing is that we've been having these discussions for quite a while now in terms of barter and the website, and one thing that I don't think people will realize is that there are so many different applications and so many different things we can implement into something like this, that the possibilities are almost endless, So, for example, not only is it a place where people can buy and sell stuff for ARRR, but being able to integrate a system in which there's a escrow service that utilizes ARRR for as a means to escrow and hold on to an asset until somebody receives it for shipping purposes and so forth. There's also the messaging system in there that can eventually be improved to where it utilizes Pirate's memo field as the messaging system, so it's 100% private and things like that. So there's so many awesome applications that can be integrated into this, that this can be eventually something that is absolutely massive. And that's something that I told Quartermaster when he originally approached me about this idea, and I was like, holy crap, this could be huge, because this not only can integrate all that stuff I was just talking about, this also promotes the use of ARRR. And the best way to promote and adopt a currency is straight up usage. So
Absolutely,
this is something that I think can be absolutely massive over time.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, there's so many, I mean, there's so many things we can integrate potentially with it in terms of we could be a first if we get to it first, a totally on-chain escrow service. It could also be a platform for local pirate, as in local Monero. We could incorporate that. Yeah, like you say, it really could be huge. There's so many ideas, many that I haven't thought of that I'm sure could be added to it.
One other thing I want to mention that was the side, which has a lot to do with this, and also a conversation that I had with Benny and Joshua. But basically, this has to do with people stepping up and taking the initiative to build products and services that utilize Pirate Chain. Because I'll give you a good example. You look at Monero. Yeah, thank you, Benny. So, shout out to Joshua, because both of you were awesome at taking the initiative to talk to me about, what can we do? Because the thing is that when you look at Monero, what do they do? What does the team at Monero do? Do they build secondary services and all sort of stuff? No. They focus on the chain, they focus on their actual product, which is Monero, and that's it. The reason why Monero is taken off so much, aside from being used in down under places, is because third parties develop services, products and services for Monero, not the team itself. So we need people like Quartermaster here, who is developing these type of secondary services that utilize Parachain to gain adoption. So this is something that I would absolutely love to see more of from the community and from people that want to start up their own business or service that utilizes Parachain, because that's the way to get adoption. Monero is way ahead of everybody because of this. Over the past year, I've been reflecting on how other chains are so much further ahead. Some because of just pure hype and that's it. I mean, being real, there's meme coins out there that are doing, like Doge, that are doing better. But, I haven't really seen any products or services that integrate Doge, obviously. So that's just pure hype and just, foolishness, in my opinion. But aside from that, a lot of the chains are ahead because they build, like, third parties build products and services alongside that integrate that chain so that when other people use it, it's using that chain's features, or if it's a currency, using it as a currency. So while the Armada itself is an amazing start, and huge shout out to Seiko and Wookie and all of them that have been putting in the time to develop that and everything like that, stuff like what Quartermaster is building is a great secondary service that runs in parallel with the Armada. So we need a lot more stuff like this to be able to reach the heights that I know that we can reach.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I mean, like I said, it's not in competition with Armada. It's there to complement it, and it could even be a stepping stone, for people who are a bit daunted by integrating all the pirate pays and all the crypto checkouts. Just to get them going and in the mood, and until they get their own websites going and can sort that kind of thing out. So yeah, I mean, just work hand in hand, like you say. It's just another tool in the arsenal of adoption.
Absolutely.
And actually, Lutz, you said you wrote about Quartal. I have no idea if it can be put on Quartal. Of course, being a tech retard, sorry for using that un-PC word. I have no idea, but I'm happy to do whatever's necessary to try and get that done.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways that a site can be decentralized and things like that to an extent. I mean, one thing to understand is that decentralized is an overused term. It really is, because there, in any given project, any project, you name it, doesn't matter. There's always points of centralization, always. Whether it's GitHub commits like Benny mentioned, or you name it. There's always points of centralization, which is not a bad thing. In a lot of cases, there needs to be a point of centralization for anything to run properly. But, it's the important bits like decentralized finance or things like that, or, for example, with blockchain, like for example Pirate, where the currency itself is decentralized. Not one person or not a group of people can just say, well, those assets don't belong here, we're removing it. No, that can't happen. It's impossible on Pirate and any good chain. You look at, for example, Luna. Everyone knows a bit about what happened with Luna. The BPSAA is actually going to come out with a podcast on it about a couple of weeks, explaining into more detail and some of the scary stuff that people don't realize. And one thing I'll mention that we're going to talk about is Luna was able to just halt their ship. That is scary. That's not something that should happen, where you can just completely halt everything. That being said, that's something that people don't realize that is actually something really scary that they should be looking out for in any chain that they're using or investing in or whatever. With Pirate, obviously can't happen. So stuff like that is really important to look at.
Yeah, true. Well, the thing is, when I thought about this at the beginning, of course, privacy is paramount in this, and of course I thought about the onion route, trying to make the website bulletproof from attacks kind of thing. But I realized at the end of the day, we're trying to make this mainstream, and at the moment, you've got to make it available in a mainstream kind of way. Yes, okay, there's vulnerability to regulation and attack, but maybe I'll be in a Spanish prison, but I won't be topping myself in 3 months. But it had to be mainstream at the end of the day. And should anybody come knocking on anybody's door, I'm also selling boating accidents for Pirate Chain users. So denial. It's like we've got to make it mainstream. So at the moment, it has to be centralized. There's no real way around it.
And the other thing, too, is that what Scott just said, decentralized can still be a long-term goal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that things should be centralized, but at this point in time, there's a lot of things that can't be decentralized in a proper way and be effective. Like I said about the whole GitHub thing. Do you want it decentralized to the point where anybody can do commits and just put whatever code they wanted to Pirate? Absolutely not. So there needs to be some sort of centralization in that point to where there are only a few people that can do commits that are trusted within the community and the team. Well, commits do need approval, I understand that. But, what happens when, you have a user that generates, 10,000 accounts and pushes something through? The point is that there's no way currently that's effective to the point where you can trust that whatever commit that's going in is not faulty without having some sort of point of centralization. I mean, think about it. If you want to, you look at a lot of other projects that do stuff like that where, they have votes on chain. There are still points of centralization. For example, you look at Cosmos, there's things called the validators. Those are people that literally have to have the ability to vote on things that code changes and so forth. But there's still a limited amount of validators. That's a point of centralization. That's what I'm trying to get at. So when you look at, for example, other chains that don't have that point of centralization, they're open to the vulnerability of people just creating wallets and having a lot of funds to vote on things and push things through regardless of anybody else. So whether you have it based on, say, the amount of, say, I'll use R as an example. If you have it based on the amount of R to vote things through, now you have rich people just voting whatever the hell they want through. If you have it based on people in general, how the hell are you going to do that based off of wallet addresses? Because you can just create, a ridiculous amount of wallet addresses, push something through. What I'm trying to get at is there's no way at this point in time to remove centralization from things like that are effective without gaping holes in security or gaping holes in people taking advantage of that situation. Decentralization, like Scott said, is something that can be a long-term goal and something that should be put in priority, absolutely. But until that point where there's an effective solution that is actually a solid solution that can't be taken advantage of, we still have to have points of centralization.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. It's we all want to get to the perfect situation, but there's steps to be taken. You can't just go there, in my opinion. We want to replace the current system, sure, but you can't just drop it and go for the other. People can't get their heads around that anyway. Step by step, cross the bridge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so back to the previous conversation, just to wrap it up, huge shout out to you, Quartermaster, for putting in all that time and effort and putting up with all the roadblocks that I know that you went through and stuff
Well,
like that.
as you warned me when we started, when you're working with volunteers, people make commitments and then sometimes they realize they've bitten off more than they can chew, and that did happen with a couple of pirates with very good intentions, I have to say. And who knows, maybe their situation will change where they can commit more to it and help me manage it and maintain it in the future. But yeah, we're getting there.
Absolutely. So I'm excited to see what future developments come on this platform and additional features that happen. It's going to be amazing. I can guarantee you guys that. So
Yeah.
And also, just on a personal note, it's been a massive pleasure working with you on this and talking through things with you on the platform and what to include and future potential things you can add on to it. So huge shout out to you, Quartermaster.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Drake, and I appreciate all the help and advice. Thanks.
And on that same note, so if you're interested in building a product or service that utilizes Pirate, not just a store, but just a product or service that could be huge, go ahead and do it. Do what Quartermaster did and just take the initiative. That's something that will go a long, long way, not just for yourself, but for Pirate as well. Feel free to hit me up if you need any advice or want to just run the idea by me and just see what I think, or anybody else for that matter on the team or whatnot. So, all right. So aside from that, the last thing I have to update you guys on is we have a Lotto coming to the casino that'll be preloaded with ARRR for those of you who want to just play a lottery, things like that. Completely smart contract run utilizing the commit and reveal method that we have implemented. So it's going to be some really cool stuff. So be on the lookout for that. That should be hopefully ready by the end of the month. We're just going to go through some testing soon and everything. So aside from that, I think that's all the updates I got. If anybody has any questions, comments, anything, feel free to raise your hand or write it in chat, and then we'll talk about it.
Don't ask me about coding, though.
And real quick, that's a key point right there. So, Quartermaster, do you know anything about coding?
Basic stuff, HTML, CSS, yeah, that kind of thing.
And you got this thing created with your very limited knowledge of coding.
Yeah, I didn't build it. I paid someone to build it. I knew enough to be able to spot where they were doing things I didn't like, if that makes any sense, which is very limited amount of knowledge, I can tell you. It's self-taught. I mean, it's not that difficult to understand it. Good old YouTube is full of lessons. So I spent a few hours, just getting myself up to speed so that I was able to notice things. But that's the limit of it.
The whole point of me bringing that up is to say this. You don't need to know everything about how to build what you want to build to get it done. You can have an idea and then recruit people to help out or seek the advice or potential assistance of some of the team if they can help to get it done. So when the time comes for integrating additional features into ARRR that have more to do with on-chain stuff and stuff like that, obviously you can talk to the team in Forge on integrating that, and they can probably provide some assistance to help integrate that into your stuff. So the point being is that you don't need to know how to build what you want to build in order to get it done. There's a ton of ways to get around doing that with additional help and resources that either Pirate can provide or third parties that can help out or whatever to get it done. Don't be discouraged if you don't know how to build what you want to build if you have a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's things like, even if you go back to like the shanty, which basically Luna and I were playing with. I wrote the lyrics to that. She started singing it, and we thought we could take this somewhere. And then Melk got hold of it, who had some knowledge, about production and took it and ran with it and produced our great song. You know, simple things like that. They just happen by talking to people.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent in this community. I mean, you know, it's a shame that a lot of it is sleeping at the moment. You know, I mean, there was so much hype going on when the prices were going crazy and the whole market everywhere was going nuts, and everybody wanted to be involved. But you know, that will happen again whilst the core people keep it ticking over. There's no reason to feel despondent about anything. You know, the chain is complete. We're here. We're building on it. I mean, Forge is doing amazing work. Mulroy is doing amazing work. Girls Tinder is doing. I mean, there's a lot of people actually doing a lot of work that they just get on with, and all that stuff will become more apparent as more people get excited when that kind of energy comes back to the market.
Exactly. All right. So Scott said, can you let everyone know that KMB tip has been removed for people that still want to interact, or they can DM the bot or use the Komodo server? Yep. So KMB tip has been removed from the server for obvious reasons. You know, this is a pirate chain server, so obviously to use pirate tip, you can use the tip bot channel. But yeah, KMB tip has been removed. That doesn't mean that your wallet and your funds are gone. It just means that you've got to DM the bot, or you want a server that has the bot on it. So, but preferably use the DM method. So, all right. Anybody else got any questions, comments, anything?
Well, if there aren't any, I'd just like to say one last thing from my point of view. It's the first time I've spoken on this forum. You know, I've just sat there and listened to all the great people and doing what they've been doing, you know, and the weekly meetings over the years. And I got to say, I feel absolutely privileged to be part of this community. When I first got into crypto, it wasn't much before I recognized Pirate Chain. It really gives you hope for the future. I mean, I am literally, and you may not believe this, but I'm literally in this because I have children. That's why I'm not, you know, asking anybody what's the next 100 times option out there, what's the next Moon Boy type opportunity. You know, this is it. This is the future, and thank you all for being here and supporting what I see as something of great importance. So privileged to be part of it.
Yeah, and for me personally, just like you, it's about our kids. You know, it's about our future. And for me personally, it's not so much about the price. It's about retaining your privacy. Even if Pirate was the same price 10 years from now, it wouldn't matter, because it's just the knowledge of anything financial that I do is completely private, and nobody has any right to see it unless I want to show them. That's the whole point.
Absolutely. I mean, my mantra for meditation is 1R equals 1R. And once you actually really do get your head around that, it all becomes clear.
Exactly.
Follow the treasure to pirate.black, because financial privacy today is freedom tomorrow. ARRR!